In the heart of Seoul, amidst the bustling streets and towering skyscrapers, there existed a divide not visible to the human eye, but keenly felt by the inhabitants of the city's canine population. On one side of the city lived the privileged pooches, pampered and spoiled in the opulent mansions of the elite. On the other side, in the shadow of the glitzy high-rises, resided the humble hounds, making do with scraps and hand-me-downs in the narrow alleys and modest homes. Among these humble hounds was Tofu, a scruffy but spirited mongrel from a poor family. His days were spent roaming the streets in search of sustenance, his nights filled with dreams of a better life. Despite his hardships, Tofu possessed a kind heart and an indomitable spirit. One crisp autumn morning, while scouring the streets for leftovers, Tofu caught sight of a vision unlike any he had ever seen. She was Coco, a sleek and elegant canine from the affluent neighborhood, her coat gleaming in the morning sun as she trotted gracefully down the sidewalk. Mesmerized by her beauty, Tofu's heart skipped a beat as he watched her from afar. He knew that she was from a world far beyond his reach, but he couldn't help but feel drawn to her with an inexplicable pull. As fate would have it, their paths crossed again and again in the coming days. Each encounter filled Tofu with a mixture of longing and despair, for he knew that Coco belonged to a different world, a world where love knew boundaries of breed and pedigree. Despite the odds stacked against them, Tofu found himself unable to resist the allure of Coco's company. With each passing day, their bond grew stronger, transcending the barriers of their upbringing and social status. But their forbidden love did not go unnoticed. Coco's family, staunch believers in the importance of lineage and status, forbade her from associating with a lowly mongrel like Tofu. They kept her under close watch, determined to keep her from straying into the wrong crowd. Undeterred, Tofu and Coco continued to meet in secret, stealing moments of bliss amidst the chaos of their contrasting worlds. They frolicked in the park under the moonlight, their laughter echoing through the silent night, oblivious to the disapproving glares of society. Yet as much as they tried to deny it, the reality of their situation loomed over them like a dark cloud. Their love was a fragile flame, threatened at every turn by forces beyond their control. One fateful day, as they were enjoying a stolen moment of peace by the riverside, tragedy struck. Coco's family, alerted to her whereabouts by a nosy neighbor, arrived on the scene, their faces twisted in anger and disgust at the sight of their precious daughter consorting with a mongrel. With a heavy heart, Tofu watched helplessly as Coco was whisked away, her cries of protest drowned out by the harsh voices of her family. He knew that their love was doomed from the start, a mere fantasy in a world ruled by prejudice and division. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but Tofu could not shake the memory of his beloved Coco. He wandered the streets aimlessly, his heart heavy with sorrow as he searched for a glimmer of hope in the darkness that surrounded him. And then, just when all seemed lost, fate intervened once more. On a cold winter's night, as Tofu huddled beneath a makeshift shelter, he heard the sound of footsteps approaching from the darkness. Expecting the worst, he braced himself for another confrontation with the cruel realities of the world. But to his astonishment, it was Coco who emerged from the shadows, her eyes shining with tears of joy as she flung herself into his arms. "I couldn't stay away. I love you, Tofu, and I will never let anyone tear us apart again." Overwhelmed with happiness, Tofu held Coco close, his heart overflowing with gratitude for the miracle that had brought them back together. In that moment, they knew that their love was stronger than any obstacle, transcending the boundaries of wealth and privilege that had once threatened to tear them apart. And so, with their love as their guiding light, Tofu and Coco embarked on a new journey together, determined to defy the odds and carve out a future where their love could flourish without fear or prejudice. In the end, it was not their differences that defined them, but the strength of their bond, and the courage to fight for a love that knew no boundaries. A love that would endure for all eternity, a testament to the power of love in a world consumed by hate. As the sun rose on a new day, casting its golden light upon the cityscape below, Tofu and Coco stood side by side, their hearts united in a love that would withstand the test of time, their tails wagging in unison as they faced the future together, hand in paw, forevermore.